Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling, well, a really big one, an explosive concept. We're talking about hell.
Right. And our mission here is to kind of separate what we think we know when we hear that word, the fire, the eternal torture, and compare that to what the original texts were actually describing.
And let's just get straight to the most surprising thing we found. The English Bible never actually uses the word hell, not in the way we think of it.
It doesn't. Instead, you find four separate original words and one symbolic phrase. And the critical thing to understand is that none of them mean the same thing.
So what we've done is mash them all together.
We've mashed them all together. You take five totally distinct ideas and you create this one single unified picture of eternal torment. If we just pull them apart again, that modern concept starts to, well, it starts to dissolve.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's start at the beginning, the Old Testament. What do the Hebrew texts say?
In the Hebrew, you have the word Sheol,
Hmm.
and it was this poetic, kind of shadowy place of the dead.
The dead, as in everyone who died.
Everyone. The righteous, the wicked, it didn't matter. It was just the common grave. And the sources are really clear on this. No flames, no torture. It's the land of silence.
Okay. So then we move forward into the New Testament, and the writers start using Greek terms. What about Hades?
Hades is sometimes used in a similar way to Sheol, but it's
Yeah.
still, more like the grave than a torture chamber. But the crucial word here is temporary. It's explicitly a temporary holding place.
Temporary, not a final destination.
Exactly. It suggests there's something else coming later, like a resurrection. It's not the end of the story.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me. The word Jesus used most often, Gehenna.
Yes,
It's almost always translated as hell, but it was a real physical place, wasn't it?
it absolutely was. And this is fascinating. Gehenna was literally a valley just outside Jerusalem, the Valley of Hinnom. It was the city's ancient garbage dump, always burning. They threw refuse, trash, even dead bodies there.
So when Jesus used that word, his audience would have pictured a smoldering trash heap.
Precisely. It was this really powerful visual symbol of complete and utter destruction, annihilation, not, endless conscious pain.
But wait, how do you get from a symbol for total destruction, a garbage fire, to our idea of conscious eternal suffering?
That's the million-dollar question. But first, there's one more, a very obscure term, Tartarus.
I've barely heard of that one.
Most people have it. It's a Greek term, shows up only once in the entire New Testament. And it specifically refers to a place for rebellious angels. It has nothing to do with human beings at all.
So it got swept up into the mix anyway.
He got swept up, which leaves us with the most dramatic image of all,
The lake of fire.
the lake of fire. And you have to remember, this is from the book of Revelation, which is maybe the most symbolic book there is. And look at what gets thrown into it. Abstract things like death and Hades itself. It's not just for people.
And the text defines it, right? It says it's the second death.
It says that explicitly, the second death, which, that suggests a final end, cessation, destruction. Again, not unending torment.
So if you take these five different things, the grave, a garbage dump, a realm for angels, a symbolic second death, and you flatten them all into one English word, hell, you get a picture that, well, an early believer wouldn't even recognize.
And that's the so what of this whole deep dive. The confusion really got cemented when early translators used a single Latin word, infernus, for all these different concepts. Then you add centuries of art, Dante's Inferno, fire and brimstone sermons, and the concepts all just merge together culturally.
And that merger creates a real problem theologically. I mean, it's hurt a lot of people. It's pushed them away because you're left trying to explain how an all-good, all-loving God could sentence people to an eternity of conscious agony.
A concept that isn't really rooted in those original separate words,
Yeah.
but in a later misunderstanding of them. So the central finding for you to take away is that this idea of eternal torment just isn't the single unified concept the source texts present.
So a final thought to leave everyone with. If that imagery of the lake of fire actually points to a second death, to a final, ultimate end of existence, what does that change? What does that perspective change about how we understand judgment, mercy, and maybe even divine love?
Something to think about long after this deep dive is over.
We encourage you to explore these original texts further. Thank you for joining us.